Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use completing the square to solve quadratic equations. Okay, and this is combining the last two things we have learned. So, for example, if you have x squared plus 8x plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so we've always said to you in the past, when solving quadratic equations, make them equal to 0. And in this case, it also helps to start with. Okay, now we're going to firstly complete the square. Okay, so again, we start with b over 2, which in this case, b is 8. So 8 over 2, which is equal to 4. Now we have x squared plus 8x. Move the plus 3 out of our way. Then we have plus 4 squared minus 4 squared. And remember, the reason we add it and then subtract it is because then we're not changing anything. Okay, this part here is now able to be written in the form of a squared plus b squared, or x squared plus y squared. So we have x plus 4 squared minus 16 plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, so we have x plus 4 squared minus 13 equals 0. All right, and as I said, normally we try and make quadratic equations equal to 0, but as you know from a few lessons ago, now we can actually solve this without making it equal to 0. So this is in the form of something squared equals something. Okay, so we're going to firstly move the 13 to the other side. Okay, and that gives us x plus 4 squared equals 13. And this is now in the form of x plus p squared equals c. And this is what we did a few lessons ago. Okay, so we now take the square root of both sides. We have x plus 4 equals root 13, or x plus 4 equals the negative root of 13. Okay, we will now minus 4 from both sides. So we get x is equal to root 13 minus 4, or on this side the same thing, minus 4 from both sides. And we get x is equal to negative root 13 minus 4. Okay, and that's it. This is solving an equation, or solving a quadratic equation using completing the square. Okay, we can do another one for an example. Let's go with, there was one I did in class that I really liked, and that was x squared plus a half x minus 3. Okay, we'll make that equal to 0. Alright, so firstly we look at b over 2, and in this case b over 2 is a half divided by 2, and you need to be careful here, because if you have a fraction divided by a fraction, then that becomes, in this case, a half divided by 2. Alright, and you can write 2 really as 2 over 1. And remember, when you divide by a fraction, what you do is you flip the second fraction and change it to times. So what we have is a half times a half, which is a quarter. Okay, so b over 2 is actually 1 over 4. Okay, so you just need to be really careful with these ones. Alright, so we have x squared plus a half x plus 1/4 squared minus 1/4 squared minus 3 equals 0. Alright, this part here, whoops, not all of it. This part here is going to become x plus 1/4 squared. Then we're going to minus 1 over 16, because we square the top, square the bottom, so we're squaring 1 is 1, and squaring 4 gives us 16. Whoops. Minus 3 equals 0. Okay. Now, if we go further with this, we're going to get x plus 1/4 squared minus 1 over 16, and then 3 over 16, if we times that by 16, then we get minus 48 over 16 equals 0. Okay, let's tidy this up another little bit here. So we're going to have x plus 1/4 squared minus 49 over 16 equals 0. Okay, now if we move that to the other side, so we're going to do plus 49 over 16 on both sides. Alright, so we're going to get x plus 1/4 squared equals 49 over 16. Here's where it's interesting, because when you take the square root of this, you get x plus 1/4 on this side, and you have the square root of 49 over 16. Okay, and you'll also get x plus 1/4 equals the negative root of 49 over 16. However, you can actually take the square root of both of these. So the square root of both 49 and 16 exists, which means that when you do this, you will get x plus 1/4 equals the square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 16 is 4. Or x plus 1/4 equals the negative of 7 divided by 4, or 7 over 4. Okay, this is now really nice because these can be now combined. All we have to do is minus 1/4 from both sides, and here we will get x is equal to 7/4 minus 1/4 is 6/4. Okay, or over here, same thing, we're going to minus 1/4 minus 1/4. So we get x is equal to minus 7/4 minus 1/4 is minus 8/4. Okay, and both of those can be simplified, so we're going to get x is 3 over 2, or 1.5 if you like, or x is equal to minus 2. Okay, so we get x is up 1.5 or x is minus 2. And that's a much nicer solution now than what we would have had otherwise. Okay, so this is how you can solve them when you have a fraction in it as well. You should always look for these situations where you can simplify the fraction when you take the square roots.